Odile Variations Part 1, and since then he's worked on it, and tonight he's going to do the Odile Variations Part 2. Also, he's going to be performing at the Baca Downtown Showcase on December the 9th. Please welcome Reuben Sandwich.
Don't tell Ellie. So good at
What's going on? Thank you all for coming this evening. I want to kind of fill some of you in on what has happened last time we got together, in case you were not here. When last we saw Reuben, he had just returned from an unsuccessful interview for the job of obscenity specialist with the Department of Justice, only to discover that his date for that evening had been canceled. To relieve the disappointment, he has called the Mucho Macho Muscle Man line a telecommunication fantasy software package, who have just connected him with Tom, the Mucho Macho Master, for whom he has just performed a striptease. You missed all of this last time, so right to the facts, sorry. As we pick up the scene, Tom is about to say, sound please. Does Tom say anything?
Oh.
On your knees, roast pig boy, and tell me what you need.
What kind of asshole question is that? What do you mean, what do I need? I mean, what does anybody need? What kind of question is that?
What do you want?
What do you want? What do you want? I want things that most people don't have. A spinach farm in New Jersey, an aardvark, and a solid platinum dog collar.
Let us just suffice it to say that I know how to get what I want.
I want a plush pink push-up peignoir with puce panties, please.
Not much, just someone who really believes in me and can provide me with the lifestyle to which I would like to become accustomed.
I was wanted to go to Venice. I hear it's just like Fort Lauderdale.
A big yacht.
When I was 6, I always wanted a pony.
I guess I want what everyone really wants. A house, a home, a car, some kids, you know, the usual.
I want a drink. Give me a whiskey, ginger on the side, and don't be stingy, baby.
I want you to wrap me in aluminum foil and call me roast pig boy. My mother always said, get what you want, but get it at Walbaum.
I want you to wrap me in aluminum foil and call me roast pig boy.
A beach house in Malibu, you know, with a big sun deck.
I want it all, and I want it now.
Offices waiting. You can hear the soft distant whine of electric drills, the gurgling babble of faraway rinse bowls, the soft muffled strains of gagging patients. Waiting, cut off from civilization, those small white boxes on the wall dispensing stale air freshener at precise intervals, causing anxieties to mount until no amount of music can dissuade them. It is irritating and unnecessary, and I do not like them. I do not like capers. They are small and green and serve no purpose at all except to raise eyebrows in restaurants. My mother kept a jar of them in the refrigerator. I do not like my mother. Or sorrel. It's green too. I do not like dead things. They are unattractive and inconsiderate and in general give living a bad name. My mother is dead. I do not like my mother. Or Nietzsche, or Wordsworth, or for that matter, any of the Bronte sisters. I do not like words. They are unpredictable and uncontrollable, painful and mean. My mother would say, you won't have a friend in the world. You're nasty and spiteful and far too opinionated. She said, I can't believe that from my loins did spring forth such a serpent. She said, a child like you is nothing but heartache. She said, you'll be the death of me. She said, I wash my hands of you. Well, Mother, that's all very fine and good. But, Mother, who's dead and who's shopping at Bergdorf's? Listen to what I say because I know words can hurt. Listen to what I say because I know the truth. I watch Oprah eat high fiber food. I read Tama and work out like Cher. I know the difference between style and fashion. I could love you if you would just fit the mold. I know what you need and how you should be, how you should look and what you should read. If only you could be more like me. If only you could be more like me. More like me. Me. Give me a whiskey, ginger on the side, and don't be stingy, baby. This is what I have heard, that the best relationship is a dead relationship. Now, I wasn't one to give it even half a thought till one day I was driving home in Celia Rose. Oh, it's my van, Celia Rose. Oh, she's the cutest thing you ever did see. I got her fixed up all nice on the inside, all pink and fuzzy. She's got a refrigerator and everything, if you know what I mean. I got them from Dandy Dan's over in Coffeyville. You know Dan's your man for a truck or a van. He gave it to me for a real steal. Oh, but that's another story. Anyway, I'm driving home in Celia Rose one morning after working the lobster shift at the Higgly Piggly Market. And we're just driving along Route 26 there, and I see this big old lump sitting by the side of the road. I didn't think much of it, you know. Just some poor dead critter calling me to make her, like some opossum. When we get a little bit closer, I see that this is no opossum. Not unless there's some opossum out there done taking up wearing blue serge. And sure enough, there is a body laying there by the side of the road. But I just kept on driving, you know, because a girl just can't be too sure. Well, I mean, what if he was some kind of killer, lunatic rapist? I mean, just waiting for some innocent person like myself to come along? And they jump up and they pull out a knife and they drag you off into the woods and they cut you up and they leave you there all broken and bleeding for some Boy Scout troop to find on their next weenie roast? Not me. But some little voice inside of me is going, Wanda McFeely, you're not going to leave that body just laying there. After all, there is a Loners on Wheels meeting every month. So, sure enough, I pulled up on the next exit ramp from Coffeyville. And I pulled up to the first gas station, Texaco. And I walk up to the phone booth there, and I'm walking, and I'm just about to put my Sandy wrap, you know, on the telephone receiver. And that's when I saw him. Bernard. He was cleaning the windshield of a 1957 candy red Cadillac Coupe de Ville. And he was leaning way over the hood, you know, with a little butt riding up real high on the fender. The right foot just kind of barely touching the ground. And he kind of slid off real nice and slow, you know, and pulled over to the side and kind of wrung out his squeegee. And our eyes met. And I knew it was love. I said, Wanda, this is the man who is going to help you. I ran from the telephone booth to his side, tripping over the air hose as I went. He caught me in his big, strong, masculine arms. I looked up into his limpid hazel eyes and smiled. He looked down at me and said, did anyone ever tell you you're beautiful? And I said, thanks, you're not half bad yourself. He said, I know, I'm afraid it's just a curse. I know, not exactly modest, but, you know, sometimes these small minor character flaws are little things we have to overlook in people sometimes. Seems like the only Christian thing to do. So I told him about what happened, what I had seen about the body sitting by the side of the road. And he turns to me and he says, so? And I said, but Bernard, there's a body, a human body laying there by the side of the road. He says, so what? I said, Bernard, what do you mean? He said, oh, this thing happens all the time around here. I said, you're kidding. He says, no, it's been going on for a long time now. It's just people beginning to take notice, you know? It used to always be happening on little back roads, little dirt roads. Most people didn't go. But now, you know, they find a couple bodies by the side of the highway. A couple of newspapers come in, some TV reporters. Next thing you know, a day don't go by, you don't hear about someone being found dead by the side of the road. I swear I can't think of anybody in this town don't know somebody who hasn't been found dead by the side of the road. And I looked at him and I said, but Bernard, why? I mean, why is this happening? He says to me, beats me with a stick. Can't say I feel too sorry for him, though. I said, Bernard, what do you mean? He says, well, it just seems to me people get what's coming to them, you know? I said, you trying to tell me that people deserve to get hit by a truck or something? He says, no, but, you know, people walking around by the side of the road all hours of the day and night, I mean, what the heck are they doing there in the first place? Seems to be kind of unnatural-like, goes against the laws of nature. Gotta go against the laws of nature, you're gonna have to pay the price. And that's when I stopped. And I looked at this man who I was so desirous of, this man who I was willing to let have his way with me on the hood of a 1957 candy red Cadillac Coupe de Ville, whose vitalicized hair I would have been willing to let my recently manicured fingers run through. The man who I thought was going to fulfill my every fantasy. I looked into his limpid hazel eyes and I said, oh, Bernard, you dweeb. And I gave him a good swift one with my left knee. Oh, he was down for the crumble up like an old biscuit. Sad, sad. I just stepped right on over him, walked into Celia Rose, and took off. Yes, my heart had been broken once more by another man. Man, I swear, the only reason you keep him around after a while is to clean out the grout in the bathroom. Yes, my heart had been broken once more, but I know I'll be all right because I've got Celia Rose. She can always console me, and she always makes me feel fine. And I know I'll be okay as long as I've got Celia Rose. Celia Rose and the long, long road. So listen, you buckle up now. You drive safe, okay? And you give us the high sign if you see us on the road now. We'll be seeing you. And remember, remember, remember. Friday, October 14th, 1988, Section A, Column 12, The New York Times. Polls find antipathy towards some AIDS victims. The public overwhelmingly expresses general sympathy for people who have AIDS, but many Americans that sympathize does not extend to AIDS victims who are homosexuals or intravenous drug users, according to the New York Times CBS News poll. 75% of the 1,606 respondents interviewed by phone September 8th to 11th said they had a lot or some sympathy for people who have AIDS, and 19% said they had not much or no sympathy. The poll had a margin of sampling error of plus or minus 3 percentage points. The general level of sympathy expressed for people with AIDS declined dramatically, however, when the two groups of highest risk of exposure to the disease were mentioned. Only 36% of those interviews said they had a lot or some sympathy for people who get AIDS from homosexual activity, and the 26% said they had a lot or some sympathy for people who get AIDS from sharing needles while using illicit drugs. These two groups make up the overwhelming majority of individuals with AIDS. The New York Times, Friday. Hello? As I was saying, New York Times, Friday, November 4th, 1988, Section A, page 1, column 4, quote-unquote virus in military computers disrupts systems nationwide. In an intrusion that raises questions about the vulnerability of the nation's computers, the Department of Defense network has been disrupted since Wednesday by a rapidly spreading quote-unquote virus program, apparently introduced by a computer science student. The program reproduced itself through the computer network, making hundreds of copies in each machine it reached, effectively clogging systems linking thousands of military, corporate, and university computers around the nation and preventing them from doing additional work. The virus is thought not to have destroyed any files. By late yesterday afternoon, computer experts were calling the virus the largest assault ever on the nation's computers. The big issue is that a relatively benign software program can virtually bring our computing community to its knees and keep it there for some time, said Chuck Cole, Deputy Computer Security Manager at Lawrence Livermore Laboratory in Livermore, California, one of the sites affected by the intrusion. The cost is going to be staggering. Clifford Stoll, a computer security expert at Harvard, said, "There is not one system manager who is not tearing his hairs out. It's causing enormous headaches. While some sensitive military data are involved, the computers handling the nation's most sensitive secret information like that on the control of nuclear weapons are thought not to have been touched by the virus." And finally, Tuesday, October 18th, Section C, page 1, column 1. Chemistry of sexual desire yields its elusive secrets. The sex hormone testosterone is a genuine aphrodisiac, with higher levels stimulating sexual desire in men and perhaps in women as well. Recent research has shown, but the level of testosterone coursing through a person's body has little direct impact on his sexual performance, according to the studies which have developed a sharp distinction between the chemistry of desire and that of the sexual act itself. The findings on testosterone's role in erotic life are part of a series of recent discoveries emerging from laboratories as sexual desire, an urge at once elusive and compelling, yields its secret to the cold eye of science. Whilst for several decades scientists have made detailed studies of the psychology and anatomy of sexual arousal itself, it is only within the last few years that desire, the harbinger of arousal, has become a focus for research. The new studies, which aim to aid therapy of individuals and couples who suffer a lack of erotic impulses, are focusing on both the biological and the emotional sexual chemistry of desire. Sexual desire is an extraordinary complicated part of life, and there is an enormous range of difference, said Harold Leaf, a professor of psychiatry at the University of Pennsylvania who is a pioneer in identifying and treating problems with desire. College students who are asked to press a wrist counter every time they have a sexual thought, or feeling may count over 300 a day, while other people report that they rarely, if ever, have a sexual desire. You know, I saw this woman the other day. She was wearing 8-inch high heels. That was true. She was walking on her hands. It's a look. It's a look. It's a look. You know, I was reading a copy of that they allowed to be distributed in the Soviet Union. And they had this article, Soviet Socialist Socialite Style. You know something? People in the Soviet Union only wear black. It's a look. It's a look. You know, I was sitting around with my very good friend Scott Harrison the other day. We were trying to decide what I should wear to this gig that I was doing downtown, you know? And he said, well, if you want to, you can always borrow my black gabardine. I mean, after all, you'll be in the East Village. And I said, what is the matter with you? I mean, are you crazy or something? You want them to think I'm a communist or something? God, I mean, these people are funded by the state. It's a look. There's a look. You got that look. Harry Donovan says long or short, a black skirt is a must. Desmond Tutu says the situation in South Africa is black. The Wall Street Journal says that the Dow has had its third worst day of trading since October 19th, Black Monday. And our movies tonight are Black Sunday and Dad Day at Black Rock. You know, I came home the other day, and they were all my friends. And they were eating all of my food. I mean, all the Triscuits, all the Philadelphia brand cream cheese. They had even eaten all the cool ranch-style Dorito brand tortilla chips. And I said, wait a minute, guys, wait a minute. You have eaten all the Cheese Whiz, put those fiberglass curtains down, and go. And that's when I turned and I saw this woman, and she was my wife, and she had this big silver tray, and on it was my favorite General Foods International's coffee, Cafe Au lait, Ooh La La Mochaccino. At least, I thought it was my favorite. I thought she was my wife. I mean, I thought it was my house, my home, my car, my kids, my 3-speed washer dryer, my dog. And then I woke up, and I was here, and I thought I was home.
It's a look. 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 It's a look.
Baby.
If you'd like to make a call, please hang up and try again. If you need help, hang up and then dial your operator.